Welcome, fellow explorers, to my performance analysis of the Uncharted collection. This is a detailed look at the Day 1 patch and the disc version to see what differences they deliver and whether or not that Day 1 patch is still as vital as I've said many times before. Does it improve your ability to play the game, enjoy the game, and obviously more importantly, pop those sweet headshots? What you're seeing before you is Uncharted's Fortune, the biggest and most altered and improved version from the Uncharted collection, running on the PS4 here with its Day 1 disc version not patched. The performance, as you can see here, is pretty rock solid, but there's a couple of occasions where you get the occasional dip and stutter within the game, just like you're seeing here now. Now, these aren't directly related to anything specific in my opinion, they're just small bugs, but you can see the frame rate dipping as we load into this new scene. Probably loaded in certain areas, AI, characters, and obviously scenery and geometry as we get into this battle. You can see the frame takes a few dips down to a low point of 55. But if we look at this exact same scene running on the Day 1 patched version, then you can see the improvements are very substantial. Where before we went through this scene dropping the occasional frame here and there into the open area, it's now been dropped down to just pretty much the preliminary loading section, and outside of that it holds a rock solid 60. If we look at one of the bigger battles during the Uncharted's Fortune game, you can see here in a like-for-like comparison between the two versions on the left and right, pre-patch and Day 1 patch, you can see the frame rate is pretty solid on both. It doesn't really drop or stutter. Certainly nothing on the GPU is stressing this game out in any way, shape or form. But identical tests show that in the physics explosion with the wall breaking down, you can see that the wall does cause a drop of 3 frames on both versions, down to 56 to 57 on the pre-patch and Day 1 patch, but that falls well within the realms of standard fault tolerance.
There we go.
I'm going to get him. Oh, that hurt.
So in this point we're not seeing a huge drastic change, but do other games show a similar pattern, or are we looking at a very minor bump? Albeit a very welcome one. If we look at Uncharted 2, a game far more impactful on both its presentation, visual work and also action, we can see that again we have some significant improvements over the disc shipped version to the Day 1 patch. You can see here in this like-for-like comparison in one of the heavier sequences, on the original release on the disc, this dropped over 100 frames throughout this sequence you're watching, as comparison to the Day 1 patch release, which only manages to drop 6. Which is a humongous increase in performance and consistency. The game never exceeds 33 milliseconds at the high point of its refresh rate on either version, but what you see here on the Day 1 patch is all of the bugs and issues ironed out that are causing these micro stutters when you're playing the game, and any pacing issues. You pretty much get a locked 60 now, no matter what goes on within the action of all the sequences I have tested. The consistency across this release is very impressive, and Bluepoint are on fire with what they have delivered with this remaster. Not only the amount of work they've put into every single version, I cannot stress how impressive Drake's Fortune actually still looks when you play it first hand, with a superb clean image quality, but also the performance is absolutely rock solid, and this Day 1 patch is really a significant improvement on top of already a great delivery. And as there's only one way to play this game on crushing, it certainly helps Nate do his thing.
They're trying to flank us. I got
But it's not just the first two games that also receive this improvement. Although Uncharted 3 is a game that sees smaller dips in certain scenes that I've tested, it certainly sees an improvement. The bar fight at the beginning is another example of a couple of dips that happen during the pre-patch version and don't happen on the day one patched version. Some of these could fall into the standard fault tolerance of running the same test, but overall from my test, and as you can see, the performance has been dramatically improved, and certainly the consistency across the board with this day one patch. It also brings with it some visual improvements. Some of the shadow dithering has been improved in certain games. Certainly Uncharted 3 is the worst offender for this, which is obvious since the game uses the GPU the most with its love of volumetric light amongst other effects in the game. But Drake's Fortune doesn't miss out. Like all Naughty Dog games, in the shadow sequences where you're using a torch, they actually use stencil shadows, or shadow volumes as it's also known, to generate their shadows using geometry rather than shadow maps. On top of this, in Drake's Fortune, you also have an umbra and penumbra effect on the shadows with contact hardening. You can see it here in the edges, and as I work towards the object and away with the light source, you can see the edges become more blurred. Impressive for a game in 2007. An isotropic filtering is between 4 and 8 now in the game. The patch also fixes a few little bugs and issues in the game. Uncharted 2 crashed on me twice, which hasn't happened since, and some of the little bugs on the cube maps and planar reflections here in Drake's Fortune have now been fixed, and I'm sure there's more in the game. But I will cover this in far more detail in my complete and thorough technical analysis and head-to-head across the PS3 release and the now new PS4. Simply stands as, if you have not played Uncharted, then you have to buy this game. It is an absolute stormer and enjoyable action movie Indiana Jones romp that, if it's your first time, you can enjoy it in the far cleaner and smoother presentation that's delivered here on the PS4. And if not, like me and many others, it allows you to re-enjoy and relive those moments until the next big hit from Naughty Dog lands. It's as fun now as it ever was, but it's not a different game, just a better presented one. But its satisfying gun mechanic is better than ever and allows you to enjoy those moments, as plentiful as they are. Within my first few hours of playing this game, I pulled off some crackers.
These guys said climbing. That's the other end of... Damn, I'm a good shot!
I will cover more in my detailed analysis. As always, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed this. If you did, then please hit the like and subscribe button. I really appreciate each and every one of you that does. Please leave your thoughts and feedback below, and I'll see you very soon on the next one.
Change! Break it! Hurry!
Let go!
Shit!
Oh, crap. Who the hell are these guys?
We've got it!
Excuse me, coming through. Sorry about that.